Wanna do it? I accidentally sent the text meant for my best friend to her brother, Gerald Cooper. 10 minutes later, he replied in the Maybach downstairs.
Come down.
Turns out her brother was pretty impressive, too. That night, things got hot and heavy. We almost went too far. When we sobered up, he promised to take responsibility. He treated me well, spoiled me, really, gave me whatever I wanted. But there was one rule. I could never tell anyone I was his girlfriend. 5 years later, he brought another woman home. With his arm around her, he introduced her as his girlfriend. I lost it. If she's your girlfriend, then what the hell am I? I waited 5 years for you. He just laughed, cold and careless, and said something that cut me to the bone. Wait for me. Did I ever ask you to? Nissa Bennett, don't fall for someone that hard. It creepy. So my love was just a burden to him. From that moment, I tried to move on, let go, and leave him behind. But a week later, while I was saying my vows to another man, Gerald showed up in the aisle. His eyes were red, and he was staring right at me. Under the dim streetlight, Gerald Cooper leaned against his car, finishing his last cigarette. He crushed it out and checked his phone for the 10th time in 5 minutes. 9 of those times were to reply to voice messages from the same woman. The last text he sent was to my best friend, his sister, Elena Cooper, letting her know he'd get me home safe. He put his phone away and turned to me with a smile. Clearly, chatting with that other woman had put him in a good mood. His voice was casual when he spoke. Nessa, you're a grown woman. You know how adults handle breakups cleanly, right? He ruffled my hair like it was nothing. Like this wasn't supposed to be a serious conversation about us ending things. He never took me seriously. Not even 5 years ago when we got drunk and slept together. The next morning, he sat on the edge of the bed, smoked a whole cigarette, blew a smoke ring, and asked casually, "You like me?" I nodded, scared out of my mind.
He just laughed.
Okay, cool. Let's be together then. Just don't tell Elle. She'd kill me. He said it like it was no big deal. And I was dumb enough to believe him. From then on, I became like his shadow. Always there, always waiting. I thought time would change things, that eventually he'd see me differently. Boy, was I wrong. He still dated other women. I was just something to pass the time when he got bored. I looked down. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw him texting again. The woman saved his girlfriend in his phone. He just met her at a bar 2 nights ago. I took a deep breath to push down the bitterness. Finally, I asked the question I've been too scared to ask for 5 years. Gerald, why can everyone else be your girlfriend except me? He froze, then sighed. It's not that you can't. It's just that after I agreed to be with you, I kind of regretted it. For 5 years, I tried to treat you like any other girl, but I couldn't. It's like anyone can be my girlfriend. Anyone except you. Under that quiet street. It was the first time he'd ever been this honest with me. His eyes reflected my face. Soft but cruel at the same time. I quickly looked away so he wouldn't see my eyes getting red. Okay, I get it. Thanks for driving me home. It's late. I should go. I started walking away, but he grabbed my wrist. Gerald wiped my tears gently, wearing that smug "I told you so" look. Such a crybaby. Aren't you going to fight to stay with me? Maybe for Elle's sake I'll play along a little longer, he said lightly. But I couldn't believe him anymore. The square outline in his jacket pocket gave him away. Condoms for his hookups with other women. I stepped back and kept my voice steady. No, thanks, Gerald. Have a good night. I walked into my building without looking back, moving fast. My breath came out in clouds against the cold air. I thought I was done crying, but when I unlocked my door and looked down from the balcony, Gerald was still standing there, staring into space. I knew he was waiting for my light to turn on before he left. How could he hurt me so carelessly, and then act so damn considerate? I closed the curtains and collapsed on the floor. The dam broke. I cried until I felt empty. 5 years of pain and humiliation pouring out. My phone buzzed a message from Gerald.
Nessa.
You should get out there while you're young. There are plenty of guys out there. Don't get so hung up on one person. Also, get some rest. Those 3 messages lined up on my screen suddenly felt ridiculous. Something shifted. All that obsession I'd carried for 5 years. It loosened.
Just like that.
I wiped my face and texted back, okay, I will. Then I called my mom.
Hey, Mom.
That arranged marriage with Scott Henderson in 7 days. I'll do it. After hanging up, I collapsed onto my bed, completely drained. I told myself not to dwell on the past, but my heart wouldn't listen. Memories flooded back. First time I met Gerald. Elena introduced us. He was in black athletic wear that day. When he hit a 3-pointer on the basketball court, girls screamed. Then he walked straight toward me, took the half-empty bottle from my hand, turned to Elena, and asked, "Who's your friend? I haven't seen her before." Who wouldn't fall for an entrance like that? I was hooked for him. I fought with my family for him. I stayed a secret for 5 years without ever going public. Later, I found out that move wasn't special. He said the same thing to every girl he met. Wait, you're getting married? 3 days after breaking up with Gerald, Elena took me out to eat. She wasn't expecting this news. She sat next to me, looking worried. Nessa, I don't know who you've been hiding for the past 5 years, but you can't just marry some random guy because of one jerk. I smiled. Relax. I'm not that fragile. I've thought this through. He's not random. He's an old family connection. We just haven't seen each other in a while. I wasn't lying. It wasn't really an arranged marriage. More like fulfilling a promise our parents made as a joke years ago. If Gerald hadn't shown up, I probably would have been Mrs. Henderson a long time ago. Elena still looked worried. She really did care about me. I pinched her cheek. Come on, don't be upset. You're going to be my bridesmaid. Bridesmaid? The door swung open. Gerald walked in casually with yet another new date. Just like he always said, anyone could be his girlfriend. Anyone but me. He stopped in the middle of the room, scanning faces until his eyes landed on mine. Who's getting married? He asked. I grabbed Elena before she could answer. Nothing. What are you doing here? The woman behind him spoke up sweetly. I asked Gerald to bring me. I wanted to meet his family and friends.
I'm Belinda Campbell.
Nice to meet you. Maybe it was just me, but her look had a sharp, challenging edge.
Elena.
Totally clueless, grabbed Belinda to pick karaoke songs. Gerald sat down next to me. In the dim light, he swirled his drink. Starting to date now? I shot him a look. Since when do you care about my love life? He chuckled, leaned closer, and studied me with amusement. Think of it as a follow-up service. If you can't find a boyfriend, I'll help you find one.
Don't worry. He won't be like me.
At least he won't make you bring him condoms when you have a fever. Or parade other women in front of you. He'll actually be loyal. How's that sound? My grip tightened on my glass.
So he knew those things hurt me. He just didn't care.
Or maybe I was always just a joke to him. I downed my drink, then smiled brightly at him. It's fine, Gerald. I'm getting married. The room went dead silent. Gerald's brows furrowed, his dark eyes stormy. Nissa Bennett. I don't like that joke. I smiled at him. I wasn't in a rush to explain. Just then Belinda walked over with a drink. Somehow she tripped and spilled the whole thing on me. She gasped dramatically. Oh no. I'm so clumsy. Are you okay? Gerald's face darkened. He glared. At me. It's not her fault.
You were in the way.
Gerald, what the hell? How is this Nissa's fault? Elena stepped in front of me, shielding me. You're always protecting Nissa. Why are you being such a jerk today? Like the whole world's against you? She was about to say more, but I stopped her. Forget it, Elena. It doesn't matter. I ignored Gerald's dark expression and headed to the bathroom to clean up. In the mirror outside the stalls, I saw Belinda behind me, eyes full of challenge. You're the one who's been chasing him for 5 years, right? Know how he describes you? He says you're creepy, like a shadow that follows him everywhere. I was trying to move on, hearing something that brutal still stung. I took a deep breath and faced her. Is that so? Then I hope you last longer than I did. Her smug smile froze and turned ugly. Suddenly, she grabbed my hand and grinned weirdly. 5 years, and he kicked you to the curb like a stray dog. Nissa Bennett. I'm the one who'll be by Gerald's side till the end. When Gerald showed up, he saw my hand land hard on Belinda's face. Gerald, I just wanted to apologize to Nessa.
But she.
Belinda covered her face, playing victim with fake tears. Gerald stayed calm. He looked at me. Did you hit her? My palm was burning. Belinda had hurt herself just to frame me. What a piece of work. I met his eyes. What if I said I didn't? He stared at me, then went quiet for a moment. Nessa, you're getting worse. You'd even lie about getting married. If you really are getting married, how do you think your husband would feel? Knowing you hit someone over another man? He seemed entertained. He lifted Belinda's chin and stroked her cheek with his thumb. Such a pretty face. Don't let it get ruined. Come on, I'll take you to the hospital. He put his arm around her and started walking out.
Wait.
I called. He turned, raising an eyebrow. I stepped closer and pointed at him. I want that bracelet back. I meant the wooden beaded bracelet on his wrist. I'd made it myself when I was younger, sanded and polished every bead. He used to wear it everywhere. His smile froze, his brow tightened as he stared at me in silence. The air felt heavy, like the calm before a storm. Even Belinda shut up. Then he laughed quietly and raised his wrist, acting confused. This old thing. What a coincidence. I was just about to throw it away. He yanked hard. The red cord dug into his skin, leaving a bright mark. He flung the bracelet to the floor. The wooden beads scattered, clicking dully against the tiles.
Pick it up yourself.
Ice cold. He scooped Belinda into his arms and walked out. I stared at the beads rolling across the floor. I'd wanted to close this chapter on my stupid crush. But now I realized there was no need. I took a deep breath, lifted my foot, and stepped right over the broken bracelet. Over the next few days, I moved back to my parents' place and threw myself into wedding prep. 3 days before the ceremony, I finalized details with the hotel. The coordinator told me the roses had been swapped for sunflowers. Mr. Henderson said sunflowers are your favorite. He wants everything to be perfect for you. Warmth spread through my chest. I texted Scott, who was still overseas. The sunflowers are beautiful. I love them. Thanks. Meanwhile, Gerald posted on social media a beach vacation photo with Belinda. Golden sun, white sand. The seaside trip. I begged him for over 5 years and never got. Belinda got it without even asking. 2 days before the wedding, Scott sent over the full guest list. It was detailed and organized, showing how much this day meant to him. Elena texted me too, saying she hadn't been able to reach Gerald all day. The day before the wedding, Scott flew in a diamond-studded gown from overseas just for me. Under the light, I ran my hand over the dreamy fabric and actually felt excited about tomorrow. Then my phone lit up. A text from Gerald. The code lock at home died. Do you still have a spare key? Our chat history was mostly my messages to him. The last time he texted me was 2 months ago. I smiled faintly, set down my phone, and let the notifications keep buzzing. On my wedding day, luxury cars lined the hotel entrance. Over 100 reporters camped outside, hungry for the scoop on the Henderson wedding. I sat at the vanity as the makeup artist worked on my face. Layer by layer, it felt like the pain and shadows of the past were being brushed away, stroke by stroke. Meanwhile, my phone kept blowing up with messages from Gerald. My phone vibrated against the marble vanity again. And again. It was dancing across the surface, a frantic, electronic heartbeat. Please tell me this is a joke. Nessa, answer the phone. I'm outside. I stared at the last message. The makeup artist, a kind woman named Sarah, paused with her brush hovering over my cheekbone. Everything okay, honey? You look like you've seen a ghost. Just spam, I said, flipping the phone face down. Let's finish. I wasn't the same scared girl who waited by a balcony for a car that never came. I stood up, the silk of the gown cascading around me like liquid starlight. It was heavy, grounding. Scott had chosen it, but he hadn't just bought a dress. He bought a shield. When I stepped out of the dressing room, the hallway was bustling. My father was waiting, checking his watch. But before I could reach him, a shadow detached itself from the alcove near the emergency exit. Gerald. He looked like hell. He was wearing a suit, but his tie was loose, and his hair, usually perfectly styled, was a mess. He smelled of tobacco and stale scotch. Nessa, he breathed, stepping in front of me. My security detail, Scott had insisted on it, stepped forward, but I raised a hand to stop them. What are you doing here, Gerald? You can't do this, he said, his voice cracking. He reached for me, but stopped short of touching the white silk, as if he knew he'd stain it. I know I messed up. The bracelet, Belinda. I was trying to make you jealous. It was stupid.
I'm sorry. Jealous.
I laughed, but it wasn't bitter. It was genuinely confused. You think I'm getting married to make you jealous? Aren't you? His eyes searched mine, desperate for a hint of the obsession that had fueled his ego for 5 years. You've always loved me. Scott Henderson is a stranger. You're going to throw away 5 years for a temper tantrum? It wasn't a temper tantrum, Gerald. It was an awakening. I adjusted my veil. And Scott isn't a stranger. He's the man who remembered I like sunflowers. You don't even know my middle name. It's Marie, he shot back triumphantly. It's Jane, I said softly. The color drained from his face. You need to leave, I said, signaling the security guard. I love you, he shouted, the words echoing down the hotel corridor, turning heads. Nessa, don't do this. I love you. I paused. 5 years ago, those words would have made me drop everything. I would have crawled over broken glass to hear them. Now, they sounded like a negotiation tactic. You don't love me, Gerald, I said, not looking back. You just hate losing. The ceremony was in the hotel's garden, a cathedral of greenery and golden light. When the doors opened and the music swelled, I didn't look for Gerald. I looked for Scott. He stood at the altar, tall and broad-shouldered in a tuxedo that fit him perfectly. He wasn't smirking. He wasn't checking his phone. He was watching me with an intensity that made my knees weak. When I reached him, he took my hand.
His palm was warm and dry.
You okay? He whispered. I heard there was a disturbance. Handled it, I whispered back. Scott's eyes crinkled at the corners. Good. The vows were traditional, but when it came time for the rings, Scott paused. He looked at the guests, then back at me. Nessa, he said, his voice carrying clearly without a microphone. I know we came together through an arrangement. I know people think this is just business. But I promise you, from this day forward, you will never have to guess where you stand with me. You will never be a secret. You will be my partner, my equal, and my wife. I will protect you. I will honor you, and I will never, ever let you walk home alone in the cold. Tears pricked my eyes. He knew. He knew about the nights I'd walked home from Gerald's apartment. I squeezed his hand. I promise to trust you, Scott. I promise to leave the past where it belongs and build a future with you. As we kissed, a roar of applause went up. Out of the corner of my eye, near the back gate, I saw a figure in a dark suit watching. Gerald. He lit a cigarette, took one drag, and then Elena appeared next to him, slapping it out of his hand and shouting something I couldn't hear. I turned back to Scott. Ready. Ready, he said. The first month of marriage was strange. I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. I was waiting for Scott to come home late smelling of perfume or to tell me to hide when his friends came over. It never happened. Scott was present. He was the CEO of a massive tech conglomerate, yet he was home for dinner every night at 7 p.m. One evening, I was sitting in the living room of his penthouse, staring at a massive vase of fresh sunflowers on the coffee table. Scott walked in, loosening his tie. You've been staring at those for 20 minutes. Do you hate them? We can get roses. No, I said quickly. It's just, Gerald used to say flowers were a waste of money because they just die. Scott sat down on the sofa next to me, leaving a respectful distance. Gerald sounds like a man who never understood the value of a moment. He poured 2 glasses of wine. Nessa, we need to talk about him. I stiffened. I don't want to. We have to. Because he's been calling my office. My blood ran cold. What? He's trying to block the merger between Cooper Industries and my logistics division. He's claiming conflict of interest. He's making a mess, Nessa. He wants a reaction.
I'm sorry, you whispered.
I brought this drama into your life. Scott set his glass down and turned to me, his face serious. You didn't bring drama. You survived a narcissist. But you need to understand something. I'm not Gerald. I don't play games. If he wants a war, I'll give him one. But I need to know if you're ready for that. What do you mean? I mean, if I crush him in business, it's going to hurt his family. It might hurt Elena. I need to know where your loyalties lie. I thought about Elena defending me. I thought about Gerald's cruel laughter. Protect us, I said firmly. Do whatever you have to do. Scott smiled, a wolfish, dangerous smile that I had never seen before. It was incredibly sexy. Gladly. Gerald's POV. The whiskey glass shattered against the wall. She's gone, Gerald.
Get over it.
Elena screamed, standing in the doorway of his office. She's not gone, Gerald slurred, pointing a finger at his sister. She's playing hard to get. She married that stiff Henderson just to piss me off. She's waiting for me to come save her. You are delusional, Elena spat. She looked happy, Gerald. Actually happy. She's glowing. You made her look like a ghost for 5 years. She was mine, Gerald roared, flipping his desk chair. She was my shadow. Shadows don't just walk away. They do when you turn off the light, Elena said quietly. And you're in the dark now. By the way, Belinda is in the lobby. She has the paparazzi with her. She says she's pregnant. Gerald froze. She's lying. Is she? You were sloppy, Gerald. You were sloppy with Nessa, and you were sloppy with Belinda. Now the bill is due. 3 months later. The annual Henderson Charity Gala. This was my debut as Mrs. Henderson to the wider society. I wore emerald green. Deep, vibrant, alive. Scott held my hand as we walked the red carpet. The cameras flashed, but for the first time I didn't feel like hiding. Inside the ballroom, the atmosphere was electric. We were greeting the mayor when a hush fell over the room. Gerald had arrived. He looked thinner, sharper. His eyes were hollow. Hanging on his arm was Belinda, whose stomach was flat. The pregnancy rumor had been a fake leverage attempt, but she was still clinging to him like a barnacle. They walked straight toward us. Scott, Gerald said, nodding.
Nessa.
You look expensive. I look happy, Gerald. I corrected him. There's a difference. Belinda smirked. Marriage suits you, Nessa. Though I heard Scott spends a lot of time traveling. Lonely nights. Scott laughed. It was a rich, deep sound that made the nearby guests turn and smile. Actually, Belinda, I take Nessa with me. We just got back from Paris. And unlike some men, I don't need to hide my wife to have a good time. Belinda flushed red. Gerald stepped closer, ignoring Scott, focusing only on me. Can we talk? Privately? No, Scott answered for me. I'm speaking to my ex, Gerald snapped. You're speaking to my wife, Scott stepped forward, his voice dropping an octave. The playfulness was gone. And you're trespassing. You weren't on the list, Cooper. I'm a Cooper. We own half the city. Not anymore, Scott said calmly. Check your email, Gerald. Gerald frowned, pulling out his phone. I watched his face crumble. What is this? Gerald whispered. Hostile takeover, Scott explained casually, sipping his champagne. My team just acquired majority shares in your logistics arm. You were so busy chasing my wife, you forgot to watch your board of directors. Gerald looked up, horror in his eyes. He looked at me, waiting for me to save him, waiting for the soft-hearted Nessa to intervene. I looked at him. I remembered the condoms in his pocket. I remembered it's creepy. I remembered the beads on the floor. I took a sip of my drink. You should probably go call your lawyers, Gerald. The fall of Gerald Cooper was not quiet. It was splashed across every tabloid. Stripped of his major assets, humiliated in the business world, he spiraled. Belinda left him exactly 3 days after the money dried up, selling a tell-all story to a magazine about his obsession with his ex. One rainy Tuesday, 6 months after my wedding, I was leaving a cafe when I saw a figure sitting on the curb. He was soaked.
No umbrella. No my batch.
Just a man in a rumpled coat. I hesitated. I could have walked to my car. Ska was waiting to pick me up around the corner. But I walked over. Gerald. He looked up. He looked 10 years older. I found them, he mumbled. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a handful of wooden beads. They were dirty, cracked, and glued together clumsily. I fixed it, he said, his hands shaking. The bracelet. I fixed it, Nessa. Look. A lump formed in my throat. Not of love, but of pity. It's too late, Gerald. I know, he cried, tears mixing with the rain. I know. I wanted to tell you. I never thought you were creepy. I was scared. You loved me so much, and I didn't know what to do with it, so I tried to break it. And I broke myself instead. He held the bracelet out. Take it back, please. I looked at the beads. I remembered the girl who sanded them. She was gone. Keep it, I said gently. As a reminder, don't do this to the next girl. I turned around. Scott's car pulled up. He got out with an umbrella, walked over, and shielded me from the rain without saying a word to Gerald. He opened the door for me. As we drove away, I looked in the rearview mirror. Gerald was still sitting on the curb, clutching the broken beads to his chest. Mommy. Daddy. Look. A little boy with Scott's dark hair, and my eyes ran across the sand, holding up a seashell. Beautiful, Leo, Scott said, scooping him up and tossing him into the air. We were in the Maldives. The sun was setting, painting the sky in purples and golds. I sat on the beach blanket, resting my hand on my stomach. Round 2 was on the way. My phone buzzed. It was a message from Elena.
Elena, hey.
Just wanted to let you know, Gerald is finally moving out of the guest house. He got a job as a consultant in Ohio. He seems stable, quiet. He asked me to tell you congratulations on the baby. I smiled and typed back. Thanks, Sel. Hope he finds peace. Who was that? Scott asked, dropping down beside me and kissing my shoulder. How's the brother? Moving to Ohio. Scott hummed. Good for him. He didn't ask more. He wasn't jealous. He knew he had my whole heart. He wrapped his arms around me, his chin resting on my head. You know, he whispered, I'm the lucky one.
Why?
Because he had 5 years to realize you were the love of his life, and he missed it. I saw you once across a room, and I knew I wouldn't waste a single second. I leaned back against his chest, listening to the steady rhythm of his heart. I love you, Scott. I love you, Nessa. The sun dipped below the horizon, ending the day. The shadows were long, but I wasn't one of them anymore. I was the light.